Hey guys. Hey, today I want to talk a little bit about automating my finances. And I told you guys that I was going to bring you along on this journey. And, I had a bit of a hiccup this last month with. Remember, I was telling you guys how I was starting to pay my mortgage weekly instead of monthly. Like we get paid 4 times a month. We get paid weekly. So what we was doing was we was taking 1/4 of our mortgage payment and we was transferring it to a separate checking account called our bill pay checking account. And then we were with our bank, we were setting up to send them a payment, send the mortgage company a payment weekly. So like for instance, um, at the beginning of January, we'd send 1/4 every week of our mortgage payment for our February 1st mortgage, right? So by the time we got to February 1st, it was paid, right? So, and the real point of this is that because we're paying weekly, there's 52 weeks in a year, it actually results in one extra mortgage payment a year, which effectively reduces our mortgage down to around 23, 22 years. So you get 8 years just by paying that extra mortgage payment a month. And since it's budgeted accordingly, it's an easy transition. So the problem we had, and I didn't realize it because we started doing this in like December. Okay, so like December 1st, we started doing this. But what happened was, is last month or beginning of February, beginning of this month, I noticed that I was getting things in the mail saying that we were behind on our February payment, that we were late. And I'm like, what? Surely this is a mistake. Surely there's a time lapse between when they mailed this and when they actually but no, I was actually behind like 500. I was behind about two payments, about two weekly payments. And what happened was I called them up and I'm like, okay, so I've been sending you weekly payments since like the week after I made my last full mortgage payment. So you should be receiving at least the amount you need for the mortgage payment. What happened? And here's what they told me. They told me that, okay, so follow me here. What they said was is that your mortgage payment, so let's say I started in January 1st. Let's say you started January 1st and every week 1/4 to pay for the February 1st payment. What happened was is the mortgage company themselves do not make your February payment due. Nothing was due on the account until mid-January. So like January 15th. January 15th is when they then post that your February payment is due. So what happened was in my January, let's just say January 7th and January 14th payments, since there was no mortgage payment due on the account yet because they don't make it due, it doesn't actually sit on your account as your next due payment until the 15th. They were taking those payments and applying them towards the principal. So then what happened was is the next two payments, the end of February payments or end of January payments, were the only ones that were applied towards the February 1st mortgage payment. Okay, so what happened was is they were applying payments to principal because in their system my payment for February wasn't due yet. Okay, so the error that I made was that I was doing it through my own bank. Okay, and so what I've done to fix this problem is I've set up with Wells Fargo themselves. That's my mortgage company. I've set up with them to pull that payment instead of me sending them a cashier's check from my bank account. Now they're going to pull that money from my Fifth Third account. So they're in the loop now. Okay, so that's how they advised me. And so now what I'm doing is I've gotten rid of the weekly. I'm going to do bi-weekly. I still get the same result in regards to that. I still get an extra payment paid a year, and it still reduces my mortgage down to 22, 23 years. But now that I've got it with Wells Fargo, they're in the loop. They know exactly what those payments are for. So, moral of the story here is it's not a loss because I've learned, first of all, I learned how not to do this, so I'm not going to do that again. But two, you can still do this. You just don't want to do it through your own bank account. So in other words, everything in the system worked. The only difference is that now I know you got to keep the mortgage company in the loop, and the only way to do that is to set up an automatic withdrawal from auto pay from Wells Fargo to pull from that bill pay checking account. So moving forward, Wells Fargo will now pull out of that account, and that's how they'll get paid bi-weekly. I'll still result in getting an extra payment every year. I'll still result in getting my mortgage reduced down to about 22, 23 years as a result of that. So, all right. So, second of all, many of you may not even get to this point of this message, but the second thing I wanted to talk about was one of my side hustles. One of my side hustles was buying and selling textbooks. Okay. So, I sent those books out about 2 weeks ago. I purchased them and then I resold them to a buyer, which is they're a bulk buyer of textbooks, if you will. And so I sent them out a couple weeks ago. I still haven't received payment on any of them, but one of them I've gotten a response saying that they've accepted it, and I'm just awaiting payment. Um, One of them actually was deemed by their system as a not a valid copy. So I'm not sure what's up with that because all the books look the exact same. All of them had the ISBNs on them, which is like a social security number for a book, if you will. It's the identifier. But I had them ship that back to me to find out, so I can look into it and find out what's going on with it, so I don't have this problem moving forward. Um, but the good news is though, even if I get payment on the other three, it'll offset the cost of the loss of the one book, even if I can't resell it. I suggest that I'm probably going to be able to resell it because I bought it. I bought it from somebody on eBay. I'm sure I can resell it. So, excuse me. With that said, there was a bit of a hiccup there, but look, guys. I mean, there's a learning curve to everything, right? Like, uh, Bill Gates once said that his success was built on thousands of failures. And look, guys, this is just a learning curve. I'm in the land of learning when it comes to uh, buying and reselling product. Never done it before. I may have done it before, but I haven't done it much. This is a little new to me. And also dealing with the mortgage company in the way in which I'm trying to communicate with the mortgage company. This is something new too. It's going to be fruitful, but there may be a few bumps along the road, but it doesn't mean we don't try. We got to try. We're never going to get anywhere, right? You got to try. As one Warren Buffett quote, I'm a man of quotes. I know a lot of quotes. Warren Buffett says that you test the water 1 foot at a time. Okay, so the point is, if you test the water with both feet, you possibly could drown, right? You want to test 1 foot at a time. And so that's what we've done here. I haven't totally committed myself um, to the textbooks. I bought a few. I sold a few. I'm waiting for payment. Once I get payment, and I see that the process is moving smoothly. Because see, I had a hiccup here, right? Like I got a textbook coming back to me saying it's an illegitimate copy. Well, I need to learn from that experience. Now, I didn't want to. If I would have went out and bought 30 books and spent $400, you know, I may be coming back with like 20 books, and I may be out a couple $100 instead of learning from one book, and righting the ship before I go in deep. So I'm testing the water 1 foot at a time. So when I come back, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna find out what's going on with it, and I'm gonna be better for knowing. Okay, and then I can move forward. So side hustles, 1 step at a time. So this is my first step. I'm not glad that it's become a problem. I'm not glad that the book's coming back, but in a way, I am happy. I'm glad that I'm getting the opportunity to learn now before I put the other foot in, right? Before I start really amping out some money to start pursuing this as a side hustle. I'm glad I'm learning it now. Right now it's the hurt is very small. If I would have waited, if this would have not come up now and come up later, I could end up with a lot more books with problems, right? So, anyways, that's all I got for today, guys. So if you do a mortgage weekly or bi-weekly, set it up with the mortgage company to pull from your checking account. In my case, my bill pay checking account, because I like to transfer it there and let it all be filtered out of that account. That way my primary checking stays as our family's expendable income. All of our bills are taken care of and are pulled out of our checking before we even get to this money. So our primary remains just expendable income, knowing that all of our bills are paid, and then set up with the mortgage company to pull that money out of that bill pay checking account. So, and also with the textbooks, I gotta iron that situation out too with this one copy. So, Again, I'm still waiting on payment on those 3. I'll give you all an update when I get that, and I'll give you an update when I get this book back and we find out what's going on with it too. So, all right, guys, it's a nasty day outside, but still, we can all have a fantastic day. Everybody stay focused, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.